Hello again, Algebra 1 students, and welcome to another week. We are officially, we have 5 days of school left, and so I hope that you are staying healthy and working hard, and just in a few more weeks, you're going to be done this crazy school year. So we have finished up Chapter 9. And we are now going to spend the rest of the school year looking at Chapter 10. There's a few things that I might take a look at in Chapter 11. We are going to be really zooming forward in Chapter 10, and I'd like to be able to hit a couple of things in Chapter 11. That will happen probably the last 2 days of school. So probably we're going to have a live Zoom session on Wednesday, but there will also be a video for Wednesday's lesson. And we'll probably hit a Zoom session next Wednesday, but same thing, there'll be a Zoom session or a video made for that. So if you can't make them, that's fine. So I'd like for you to turn to page, I can't even read the page number, 568. So page 568, this is the beginning of Chapter 10, and who would have thought that we would finally get here? And we are going to be looking at adding and subtracting polynomials. And polynomials, if you break away that word, if we were to say monomial, is going to be the one, polynomials is going to be more than one, obviously. Trinomials is going to be 3 expressions. So you're going to see these words pop up, and you're probably going to use that terminology more in Algebra 2. For now, it's just an introduction, which a lot of Chapter 10 is. It's going to just be introducing you to these things. And so I want to point out the very first thing, if you're looking at example number 1, talks about the degree of a monomial. A monomial is just a little guy sitting here all by his lonesome, just one of them. And he has a degree, not a college degree, but a degree. And that degree is 3. And so if you look at your examples, you will see it has negative 5x to the 4th, 1/2 b to the 3rd, and 12. And the degree is simply this number right here. Pretty easy. It's just terminology in this first chapter. So the one, negative 5x to the 4th, the degree is 4, or the exponent of x is 4. So you would say the degree of the monomial is 4. The second one, the degree is 3. And the final one, the degree is 0. So you, this is pretty easy. I'm not even going to go through the checkpoints for this, but we're going to go ahead and hop to the second page, and I want you to look at the top of the page where there's the big bold word polynomials. And it gives you a definition. A monomial was given on the first page as a number or variable or the product of a number and one or more variables with whole number exponents. I know, it's just kind of all of this technical language. A polynomial is a monomial or a sum of monomials. And so we can look at polynomials, and monomials are very similar. And a binomial is going to have 2 terms. A trinomial is going to have 3 terms. A monomial is going to have 1 term. And polynomials is the big category for all of them. So the main thing I want you to be able to do from this chapter is to recognize the degrees and to realize and kind of have to go all the way back to the beginning of the year when we were sorting things, because we're going to be sorting things again. So you have to look at the degree. So that's the first thing that we're looking at here. The second thing is that we want to group things together. So if I had 6x to the 3rd plus 5 x to the second plus 3x to the third. And I said, okay, group all of those together. I would expect that you would put this guy and this guy together because their degrees are the same. They can only go together if the degrees are the same. So I would put them together. I would add these two pieces, and I would have 9x to the third plus 5x squared. You're not going to do any multiplication. You're not going to change that. You're just putting these two guys together. And so if you will look at example 3, you will see expressions there. And all we are doing, if you notice the title of this chapter, adding and subtracting polynomials, so we're going to take all of these expressions, is we're just going to put them together. So let's look at the first example. We have 5x to the third power minus 2x. Plus x squared plus 7. That's the first one. And I like to keep them separated by the parentheses, so that might be good for you. Plus, and I'm sorry I should have put the whiteboard the other way, we have 3x squared plus 7 minus 4x. So that is the example. If you want to know, we're on page 569, example number 3. Now, they give a way to do this, which is pretty easy. And so, yeah, I think you should be able to see it. So they set it up so that it's just like a normal addition problem. And so I am going to move some things so that everything is in order with its counterpart. And so I am going to move the 3x squared to here, the positive 7 to here, and the negative 4x over here. Now the reason that I'm doing that is because I want to line everything up. Okay, so now I'm just going to move these up here. So I'm going to have the negative 4x, the plus 3x squared, and the plus 7. And I don't really need those parentheses anymore since I've kind of worked all of that out. So again, example number 3, they gave it to us in horizontal form. I'm now putting it in vertical form, and I'm putting it in just kind of like this. If I was going to do an addition problem, I'd stack them on top of each other. We're stacking because we want to put them together. So if you look, they've actually done that. Now, one of the things that they did that I usually wait until the end is that they put the degrees in order. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to have, I don't have anything else here, so it's going to be 5x to the third power. I've got a negative 2x and a negative 4x, and so I'm going to have minus 6x. Then I have a 1x squared and a 3x squared, so I'm going to have 4x squared plus 14. And that's how I put these together. I'm just adding them, but I'm adding the degrees, okay? Now, the one thing that we didn't mention that they talked about earlier, and like I said, I usually wait to do it at the end, is that now we have to put the degrees in order. And if you put these incorrectly on a test, I am going to take a point or so off because they should be in order. So I'm going to have 5x to the third. That's the highest degree. My next highest is this one. My next highest is this x, and the whole number goes last. And so this then would be your final answer because you have to put them in order. Now, there is, I don't think we've come to it yet, but there is, if you add all of these up, you get a total degree. So 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. The degree of the whole statement is 6, but I don't see that in here. So you're looking to put all the degrees together. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at the checkpoint, and I want you to do checkpoint 9. And so you're going to take a minute. You can pause the video and do checkpoint 9, and as soon as I get the board erased here, I will give you the answer to that. Okay, so for number 9, it doesn't give me the answers, so I am going to have to give them on my own. You should have, you don't have any cubed, but you have a 1x squared and a 2x squared. So that's going to be 3x squared. And those are the highest, so that goes first. Then we have a 3x and we have a negative 4x. So 3x minus 4x is going to be negative x. 3x squared minus x. And then we have a 2 plus 2 plus 4. This is your answer for checkpoint 1. So we're just putting the degrees together. So it's just like before when we had x's and y's. I did this just those backwards. We had whole numbers. And remember in the beginning of the year when we were putting the apples all in the apple basket, the oranges are all in the orange basket, and now we're doing the same thing. We're putting the x squareds together. We're putting just the x's together. If there were y squareds and y's in here, we would put those together. So you just have to be very careful. I like to take colored markers or colored pencils and separate. So I would maybe do all the x squareds in red, then all of the single x's in blue, all the y squareds in yellow, and then it's just easier to put them all together. All right, let's turn the page, and I want us to take a look at subtracting, because this is where it could trip you up a little bit, because some of you still don't use those negatives correctly. So I want to take a look at the example number 4, and we have negative 2x cubed, and I'm going to go ahead and sit this horizontally, plus 5x squared minus 4x plus 8. All right, everything's good with that one. But then, if you notice, we're running into a negative sign. We have all of this minus, then I'm going to write this down here for a reason. We have negative 2x cubed, and this is minus from what's up there, so you can look at the problem, plus 3x minus 4. Now, I hope that all of you were screaming through the video, I know what to do with this. I'm expecting that you're screaming through the video, because what I want you to remember is what happens when there is a negative sitting outside a parentheses. It's going to change everything inside. So it's going to change this to positive, this to negative, and this to positive. So you've got to do that part first before you stack them. And now we can stack them. I don't have anything else x squared. So again, I line everything up. I didn't have anything x squared to put in there, so I just put a 0, leave it blank, whatever. And now I can answer my question. And because I have a negative and a positive, that's going to be 0. So now I can do this one, 5x squared minus, I've got 2 negatives, 7x plus 12. Now for those of you who struggle with the negatives and positives, this could come back and haunt you. But keep working on it. So that's the answer that that we're left with 5x squared minus 7x plus 12. You've just got to remember what to do in those parentheses. So I want you to take a look at checkpoints 11, because we're going to do some subtracting. And I will give you the answer in just a second. So hit pause and do that one, and then come back for the answer. All right, so if you did number 11, your answer should be x squared plus x minus 13. So hopefully that is the answer that you got for that one. So the homework shouldn't be too difficult on these. I'm going to do a separate video. This video's gotten a little bit long. I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video for 10.2. So take a break or listen to the second one tomorrow, whatever you'd like to do. But I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and then I'll go right into 10.2.